Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how-to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show.
Hello, insiders. Welcome to another show. As promised, today I will be speaking about studying in Japan. So I hope you are all ready to learn a bit about studying in Japan. First of all, why study in Japan? Of all the places that you could study, why go to Japan to study, where the language is different from English? And as we know, English is really the language of business and the language spoken in many countries. So let's dive in. With over 150,000 international students, Japan is one of the most popular destinations for international students. The government wants to recruit more international students. This is because they have a target of over 300,000 international students that they want to have in Japan by the year 2020, which is very close. It's basically a year away, so to speak, because 2018 is over. So yes, by the time you look around, it will be 2019. So Japanese universities, funny enough, they passed the 100,000 mark in 2003, but the progress has been slow, especially over the past decade. And if I should make an assumption, I think many persons might not know about the opportunities to study in Japan, or maybe a bit scared about doing so. If you study in Japan, you will be able to learn about, a new culture, and also the history, and you'll also learn a new language, which is one of the most unique in the world. Japan is very famous for a lot of things, but yes, they do have a very special culture. There are several ways to get into school in Japan. The methods to get there are really, you have three methods, and it's mostly using undergraduate courses, or you can do vocational school, or you can go to learn Japanese. So let's dive in further into this. Method A, gaining admittance for studying in a language school in Japan. So that's one. And then method B, you can go to Japan to take an entrance examination. Method C, taking an entrance examination outside of Japan and then obtain permission to go to Japan to study. Depending on the path you choose to study in Japan, the procedures for obtaining a visa will also differ. Likewise, the expense to cover your studies and life in Japan will also differ. So for each method, you will basically have advantages and disadvantages. Alright, so you have to look into that. And if you want to do more research on this, you can go to Global Tsukuba. Okay, so just Google Global Tsukuba, and you will get that. So the website is www.global.tsukuba, and you'll get some more information on that. Alright, so after deciding to go to Japan, I'm sure you might be a bit worried about the cost. So Japan is definitely an expensive country, especially if you live in cities like Tokyo. But funny enough, universities do not reflect this. A public university usually charges about 535,000 yen per year, and in 2018, right? And private can cost double that amount. The enrollment fee in public university will probably also cost about 280,000 yen. Living cost differs based on where you go. As mentioned earlier, Tokyo is a very expensive place, and also Osaka. These are major cities. So, but you have other places that might be a bit cheaper. And according to topuniversities.com, that's a website. Even at private universities, the tuition fees in Japan are roughly about, as I said before, it's roughly in the 12,000 to 18,000 per year cost, which is, I mean, depending on the country you're from, this might seem exorbitant, but if you're in the United States, I mean, this is cheap. this is fairly cheap. So you must take these things into consideration while applying. So, but of course, you'll also have to think about your living expenses. And I got some information from Quora, and Jessica Marvella wrote an article, and you can check that out for yourself, but I'll give you the gist of it. She's saying basically the living cost differs from the prefecture. So places like Tokyo and Osaka might be more expensive, but Kyushu area is relatively cheaper. And she basically says if you live nearby the campus and you cook often and don't go shopping that much, you will need about 60,000 yen. And maybe if you live in like even expensive cities, you need maybe like 80,000 yen each month, which can be a bit hectic. I mean, that's maybe you're looking at maybe $800 right there. So this will cover your rent also, though. So I mean, it's not that you won't be homeless. So I mean, of course, depending on the city you're in, it will be more expensive. Okay. Also, you will want to know when and how to apply. So once again, according to the Japanese school year, the Japanese school year starts in April, and the second semester usually starts in October. So language schools often have start dates in January and July as well, and short-term courses start every month at some schools. So depending on where you're going and what you're studying, you will have these options. For long-term courses, you will need a student visa, so you will have to apply maybe 6 months before, just to be safe. So language schools and so forth will need to help you with the application. You'll need to get clearance and so forth, and they will be helping you with this. So you'll have to go with them. Okay. Also, universities and other schools will help you with the processing the visa and so forth. So 6 month waiting period, or 6 months before, is the better option for that. Alright. And you should also note that applications are taken a short space, so you have a short window through which to apply. And if you want to know more about this, you can go to dreamstudiesabroad.com. dreamstudiesabroad.com. I mean, these will definitely be in the show notes that will be on the podcast, so you can do further research there. Who can go to school in Japan? Well, foreigners who want to study at a Japanese university must meet the following requirements: have a valid passport, must do 12 years of school. They say in your home country, but I'm sure if you can show that you did your secondary education in a particular country, in your home country, and then you move to, let's say, a foreign country to complete that, I'm sure you can get over that hurdle. It's just that you'd probably take you a bit of time to gather all the documents. If you have a baccalaureate, diploma, this also can satisfy this requirement. You must also have proof that you can pay all your expenses while studying. Japanese language skills, not necessarily needed, but I'll speak a little bit more about this. But of course, for some courses, if you don't have it, you definitely won't be able to study. So, I mean, you should look into whether you'll need Japanese or not in order to study. Also know that foreigners have an easier time getting into Japanese universities than Japanese students, mainly because the Japanese government encourages a diverse university population. So, the non-Asian population at most universities is still extremely low. And you can university application requirements. A typical Japanese university application requires the following items: references from professors or teachers, proof that you can financially support yourself while studying, high school transcripts or diplomas, a valid passport size photographs. You will also need to take an entrance exam. This exam is the examination for Japanese university admission for international students. This includes academic and language testing and is offered twice a year, in summer and fall respectively. If you are applying to a university that requires English language skills and you are not a native English speaker, you may be required to take the test of English as a foreign language. That's TOEFL. But please note that most universities in Japan require international students to take the examination for Japanese university admission for international students, also called EJU. The EJU can be taken at locations in 14 countries worldwide, and you can just do a simple Google search and to find out those countries. So that's EJU countries. The EJU includes the following subject tests: Japanese as a foreign language, science, and this incorporates physics, chemistry, and biology, and Japan and the world, and mathematics. The good thing about this is that you can select which subject test to take based on the requirements of the Japanese university you wish to enter. The examination is available in Japanese or English, so you can choose that also. To find out more about this, you can do further research at the completeuniversityguide.co.uk. That is the completeuniversityguide.co.uk. Once admitted, your university will help you obtain your student visa as mentioned earlier. They'll mainly be helping by providing you with a certificate of eligibility, which is very important, okay? And you can find out more about immigration issues at justlanded.com, okay? That's justlanded.com. You can do some research there. Do you need to study Japanese in order to go to university in Japan? Well, the answer isn't straightforward because it seems to cut both ways. You have persons who say you need Japanese. Some people are even saying you need level 2 Japanese, which I find to be very hard to believe because this is a very high level of Japanese. And other persons are saying you don't need it because you'll be given remedial courses. But luckily, I am an insider and I found a gem. There are 3 universities that offers studies in English in Japan. Yes, you can study for your degree in English in Japan. And these 3 universities are the University of Tokyo, also known as Todai, Sophia University, and Hokkaido University. So Sophia is also in Tokyo. So if you don't want to go to Tokyo, you can go to Hokkaido, which is up north. But the truth is, if you're moving to Japan, you should consider learning the language. I mean, this will just enhance your life there in Japan. I mean, you'll be able to get maybe a part-time job if something like that if you want, so it's something to look into. And if you need some tips, I'll tell you, just start with the kanas. You can't go wrong when you start with the kanas. That's hiragana and katakana, and see what happens from there. Is it worth it to study in Japan? Well, according to QS World University Rankings, Japan has 39 universities featured. So if you are going by world rankings, it is certainly the place to go to do a degree. I mean, you won't be losing out by going there. So all the best with that if you choose to move to Japan. Take care and speak with you next week.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.